Hi everyone, my name is Joanna Ibrahim, and I will be talking about virtual reality. So a little bit about what we'll be going over today. I will talk about what's virtual reality, the history of it, industries using virtual reality, marketing, examples, companies that are invested in virtual reality, and a little bit about ethics. So what is virtual reality? It is a computer-generated simulation of a three-dimensional image or environment that can be interacted with in a seemingly real or physical way by a person using special electronic equipment such as goggles with a screen inside. A little bit about the history of virtual reality. The idea of virtual reality dates back to the 1800s. In 1838, the first stereoscope was invented using twin mirrors to project a single image. That eventually, developed into the ViewMaster, which was patented in 1939 and is still actually produced today. Morton Heilig developed the Sensorama in 1956, and his background was in the Hollywood motion picture industry. And basically, he wanted to see how people could feel like they were in the movie. So the Sensorama experience simulated a real city environment which you rode through on a motorcycle. Multi-sensory simulation let you see the road, hear the engine, feel the vibration, and smell the motor exhaust in the designed world. He also patented a head-mount display device called the Telesphere Mask, which is actually displayed on the top right corner, in 1960, and many inventors built off on his work. In 1965, another inventor, Yvon Sutherland, offered the ultimate display, which was a head-mounted device that he suggested would serve as a window into a virtual world. And in the mid-1980s, the term virtual reality was actually starting to be used. So as you can see, a lot of industries are adopting virtual reality, and I thought it was interesting to talk a little bit about how some of them are incorporating virtual reality to become more effective at their jobs. So virtual reality allows the automotive industry to change the process for design, safety, and purchasing. It allows engineers to examine how a car would look and function without having to build multiple models. And replicating the environment also allows for safety trials to be performed without exerting the time and energy it takes to actually run the test, to run an actual test. In healthcare, surgeries can now be viewed from 360 degrees, which is not only useful for doctors, but students as well. Virtual reality also allows for guided tours for any place around the world, so people can sort of try before they buy their choice of destination through goggles, which I think is absolutely amazing. And virtual reality is reinventing the entertainment industry. So people play video games and watch movies while being completely immersed into the action through your senses. So you're not just watching it, you're actually in it. So I wanted to show, I wanted to insert a little clip here of how virtual reality is being used in healthcare. It demonstrates a better idea for you guys how it can change the way we study or do business.
We've been teaching human anatomy the same way for 100 years. Students get a cadaver, then they look at medical illustrations, and it's completely two-dimensional, and the human body isn't.
Microsoft HoloLens is a holographic computer that you wear. It enables you to bring your digital world into your real world.
At Case Western Reserve University, we are focused on solving problems and creating new knowledge.
My job is to teach, and I really think this could impact almost everything that we teach people. With HoloLens, you can see the muscles on top of the skeleton all at the same time. You can bring them in and out and exactly understand where things sit.
You can take any anatomical part and show any of it. You can move it around, you can make it kind of translucent so you can see through the outside, and that really helped me understand how cardiac anatomy worked. I actually had a moment where I found the aortic valve, and it was the first time that I'd actually seen the aortic valve in relation to all the other anatomical structures. It was a way of seeing it that you couldn't do with an actual heart.
I think this...
So, I thought this was an interesting video that kind of captured how they use it. Virtual reality is a very visual thing, so I thought that was pretty cool, the way they, broke down the human anatomy through virtual reality. It just led to a more diverse way of learning. So, since I study marketing, I wanted to show how businesses can implicate virtual reality through marketing. So virtual reality can potentially shift marketing in a whole new direction in so many ways. Virtual reality technology enables people to feel as if they're actually present in a different place of time. So it allows greater emotional intensity and provides a new layer of experience. So this is why it can greatly enhance customer experience and better product testing, while allowing them to get a feel of the product or service in a way businesses can't really do today. Providing customers with a more enhanced experience can entice the customer to stay and actually buy the product, and then can potentially shift consumer behavior. This can also lead to increased consumer engagement, which is always a challenge that companies have. And it is also a new and innovative way to give the customer an idea of what they're buying or what is being sold to them. So here are some, here's just one example of how companies have incorporated virtual reality into their business model. Lowe's has created what they call a Hollow Room how-to experience, which provides a more effective training tool so customers can learn DIY on their own terms. Users can, put the VR headset and hold the controller in each hand, and they will be immersed in a project, such as tiling a shower, and they are given step-by-step instructions to complete the task. And after the initial tests they've been tracking, and tests have shown that there has been an increase in recall and a boost in customer confidence, and enhances motivation to take on more DIY projects. So a little bit more examples of how virtual reality is or can be used. Real estate is taking full advantage of how virtual reality of virtual reality when showing clients potential homes by them viewing what the house would look like with their own furniture. This allows for a more personalized view of the house, therefore leading to a more confident purchasing decision. The middle picture you can see is a virtual grocery aisle where people can do their grocery through the virtual reality headset at the comfort of their couch. So shoppers are able to pick the products they want, like in a real grocery store, pay, and then have the groceries sent to their house within, in the matter of a few hours. There are also games like The Eagle, which allows you to fly over Paris and walk the streets as if you're actually there. So some companies that have invested in virtual reality, this shows, that companies are vigorously investing in VR, and Facebook bought Oculus Rift for $2 billion and has invested in at least $500 million more dollars. And they plan to spend more than $3 billion in VR over the next decade. So Mark Zuckerberg is by far the most aggressive when it comes to investing in virtual reality. He believes in it, so he is spending a lot of money in it, and he's investing big time in virtual reality. Google has invested about $594 million on the Google Cardboard, and many companies are actually using it today. And HTC's goggles are the most expensive on the market at about $800, and Google Cardboard is the cheapest at about $6 on the market. So you can see there's just a wide range of, availabilities on the market for virtual reality. So I found some stats about the future of virtual reality. So by 2020, the virtual reality industry would hit about $33.9 billion. 62% of consumers say they would feel more engaged with a brand that sponsors a virtual reality experience. By 2020, the predicted number of sold virtual reality headsets will reach 82 million, and 71% of consumers perceive a brand that uses virtual reality as forward-thinking. And I actually found a quote from Mark Zuckerberg that said, virtual reality was once the dream of science fiction, but the internet was also once a dream, and so were computers and smartphones. So clearly, he strongly believes that virtual reality will become a part of our lives, just like computers and smartphones have. We will just be using it daily, day in and day out. And I wanted to talk a little bit about ethics, because there are some ethical implications that come with virtual reality, and these three are sort of the ones that popped out as the biggest issues that might arise the more popular it gets. With virtual reality, advertisers will be getting a lot more data than they can get now. They can monitor the movements and gestures, and these unique movements can be tracked and read. it just brings this whole notion of privacy into question, the fact that they can track your every single movement. The second, which is virtual criminality, which deals more with like video games. And the Nether was one that recently was mentioned because it dealt with pedophilia and there was an actual kid in the game. So in order for the player to move forward, they must molest the child and kill her, which is absolutely absurd in my opinion. But a lot of video games promote violence these days, and virtual reality is just bringing it more to like more reality, bringing it to reality, which is a huge ethical dilemma in my opinion. And lastly, psychologists believe that virtual reality has the power to control our behavior, which is something I completely agree with, since they will have our every move and they'll know our surroundings. They could potentially use this to their advantage, which also, draws ethics into question. And then some discussion questions that I came up with. What do you guys think virtual reality will be like in the future? What do you guys see do you guys see virtual reality being used for something that hasn't been talked about or mentioned today? And have any of you experienced your own VR headset? If so, what have you used it for and what was it like? Explain your experience. I would love to know. And these are my sources.